Hey everybody, this is David Skrika. So back in Canada, think I showed you this last year. So this is my father's place. So this is up in a place called Flamborough, near Dundas, which is near Hamilton, up in the escarpment. It's just kind of like a mountain. So he has a pretty cool little place here. These are like little strawberries. So he's got all these trees like bear fruit and stuff. I don't seem to have as much this year. So anyhow, you get like raspberries and strawberries over here. Um, so anyhow, so he's like near there's this waterfall. It's called like Webster's Falls, and it's not that fall. That's actually Skarika Falls, we call it. And actually, the erosion has taken it back so far that it used to be like here when I grew up as a kid. So it's actually almost off our property now. So anyhow, so this little river actually will take you to Webster's Falls. Like you can walk down it, and it's ridiculous now. It's become this big tourist attraction. Like all these people that live in like Brampton and Mississauga and all these places that are like kind of urban sprawl, they all come down here, and they go on the weekend. You have to pay to get in there, so I refuse to do that because I grew up here as a kid and went to those waterfalls like hundreds of times. Another one called Tews Falls that is close by, and I'm like, I'm not paying, and I think during the week you can still go for free too. So, and if you don't want to be around a lot of people, it's really crowded. So, luckily, because a lot of this is conservation area, you can't build. So, like, it's still kind of rural here. Like, there's a lot more people like everywhere else. So, anyhow, I thought I'd show you this. Like I said, I did do one of these videos, but I know through some of the interviews I've done, a lot of the stuff I've done, I've got like more people on my list and that sort of thing now. So, I thought I'd show you this now. So it's pretty nice down here. So this was my grandparents. They actually bought this place in I think the early '60s, and I think they bought it for like $10,000 or $15,000. Then my father bought out his siblings, his brothers and sisters. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters when they passed away. Unfortunately, he was going through his second divorce, and then I had to sell his old house, and then he bought this, and it's crazy. He bought it probably for $250,000, and just because of this property and what real estate prices have done here in Canada, especially Southern Ontario, it's probably worth close to $1.5 million. The house is pretty dumpy. He'll be the first one to admit it. It's 200 years old. Because he plans on retiring to the Bahamas with me, so he kind of has no interest in fixing it up. So he's gonna just sell it, and I'm sure it will sell because someone will buy it. Probably a rich immigrant will buy it as a kind of a fixer-upper. And like I said, there's no rentals here too, and this has become such a big tourist attraction. I told him it'd be perfect for like a bread and breakfast or something, So anyhow, I guess in the next few years I'll have to enjoy this. It is nice here in the summer. Like one issue with the Bahamas is it is like, for my American friends, like 90 degrees. For my Canadian and European friends, like 32 degrees every single day in the Bahamas from like May to October, and humid. So like kind of like today's like 24, some mid 70s, not a lot of humidity, like very nice, and gets down to the mid-teens at night. So it is kind of nice to get away. Like I like the heat, but that gets a little oppressive after a while. Like the last day I was in the Bahamas on Friday or Thursday, it was pretty miserable. It was no breeze, 100% humidity. I took a jump in the ocean, which was fun, but So anyhow, this is where I grew up. So yeah, we used to I'll show you a little bit more before I get into some market commentary. And not everything has to be totally market commentary, right? So this year now he's planted a lot of these trees, but I think one reason these trees aren't bearing as much, it rained too much this year, and that actually hurt. I don't know. I don't know nothing about planting trees. I'll ask my brother. My brother's good at that sort of thing. So anyhow, so we used to play football down in this little yard thing here. A lot of footballs or soccer balls did get lost in the river. So on a day like today, it'd be okay, but when it's raging, you just have to write that ball off. So anyhow, and let's go over here for a second. And my grandfather built this little thing here. It's kind of falling apart because we never use it. He would do like barbecues and stuff down on this thing. So, yep. He has this little garden here. He basically did all this himself because he was like a poor immigrant. So, anyhow, there's a house up there. So, okay. So, yeah, with the markets, we saw a bounce back this week. I was up a lot on my short semiconductor shorts. Now I'm down a little bit. That's the nature of these things. So I want to see if this is just a bounce or I think either way, we are going to see a sell-off in the markets, post the election. Either maybe a sell-off on on Harris's kind of plans, or a sell-off on maybe the market if Trump wins. Maybe the Trump win would be a little more later on rally, maybe continue to rally in the fourth quarter, because people would think that his policies are more high growth. So it's so funny too to talk about. Let's make the theme of today inflation, because CPI did come in a little higher than expected. Same with the PPI, nothing crazy. And I saw like one Nomura, which is that bank in I think it's a Japanese bank, if I'm correct. And their economist said, if Trump puts these tariffs and everything, it's gonna be inflationary. I'm like, did one bank say in 2020 and 2021, when they printed and spent and borrowed trillions of dollars, which is the number one cause of inflation? Milton Friedman used to say inflation is and always will be a monetary phenomenon. Did I hear one bank warn, we're going to have really bad inflation in 2022 and 2023 because they've printed and spent all this money? I didn't see one bank say that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry if I'm raising my voice, because it makes me angry. I'm like, these guys just, like, the Trump's tariffs will cause inflation. No, we got inflation because a combination of Trump and Biden, in 2020 and 2021, printed, spent, borrowed trillions of dollars. And I see it here in Canada. Canada did the same thing. And I can't believe when I go to the grocery store here now, I'm like, you know what? These prices aren't much different than our Bahamas prices. Where there are duties on everything, where everything is imported onto an island. I'm like shocked, So like, I love cheese, and I bought a little thing of brie cheese, and I was like, you know what? I think even adjusted for the currency rate, brie and that comes from France or whatever, and Canada has extra duties on that because the farmers, the milk lobby, makes them, tax stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, it's cheaper in Bahamas. And when it comes to cheese too, I don't know why you guys feel, but I want the real stuff. I want Havarti from Denmark. I want Gouda from Netherlands. I want mozzarella from Italy, and I want brie from France. I don't like. They have all these local things here that try to replace, especially mozzarella. That's like the number one thing that. You totally notice the difference of the stuff that comes from here than the stuff that comes from Italy, right? So anyhow, inflation. So there you go. Like anyhow, so we'll see what happens. The Fed does meet this week. They'll probably do a quarter point. There's still a chance of a 50 basis point cut. So we'll see. And actually, the studies have all shown when they have to start with 50, that's usually a bad thing, because it's a sign that the economy is really weakening. And actually, the market is pretty crappy the next year or two out after they do 50. So. We'll see what happens. There's my little video from Canada. I'm still a little jet lagged. See, the problem with living in Eleuthera, and this will be my last thing here, is basically so I'm just getting my thoughts together. It's hard to get anywhere. Like the nice thing about, I still rather live in Eleuthera than Nassau, but in Nassau I used to live close to the airport. This flight leaves at like noon. I would just jump in my car at like 10:30. Get there at like get there an hour and a half to 2 hours early, leave. And then when I came back, same thing. So, basically my travel would start at say 10:30, right? And I'd be in the airport in Toronto by 3 or 4, and I'd be home by 6. So it'd be like a 6-7, because it's an hour or 2 hour drive, to my dad's place. Where in Eleuthera, I have to get up at 5 or 6 to catch this early flight to Nassau. And it's like ends up being like 13 hours, and then I can't sleep because I'm worried about oversleeping and missing the flight and all that sort of thing. So that's one of the downsides. So yeah, I was pretty exhausted yesterday, and I slept pretty good, but I think I'm still a little jet lagged. Anyhow, I'll talk to you later. Bye.